I mean, it's Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points. I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. Good morning. Long time no see to everyone that was just hanging out with us for the MLB show last night. So it's obviously the first day of college football 2025. Normally on Saturday mornings, we're live at 10 a.m. So at this time next week, we will already be 16 games in. We're going to be ripping through games. We're going to be going through like 35, 40 games on a normal Saturday. Instead, more of like rapid fire type of fun smack talk type of content. That's what we'll be doing starting next Saturday morning. If you're wondering, hey, where's Moneyline Mac? Well, he's out in Las Vegas. The Sports Gambling Podcast Network and College Experience, they were out there on VSiN this weekend for college football week 0 doing a broadcast. This picture was tweeted out 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago. So I think Moneyline Mac might be in a coma somewhere. But you know what? I'm going to put him in. He'll be here in spirit. I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put him in. Hold on.
I mean, when you're wearing sunglasses inside, it's never a good good start to your day.
When you're wearing sunglasses inside at 6 a.m.
Right.
There we go. All right. So obviously this will be a quick one. There's only 5 games, and I've already gone through them a couple of times. So a lot of you know what I'm going to say. Now, Scoop, you haven't heard from yet. So Scoop will have the mic longer than me during this.
You heard a lot of me in the last 19 hours, though, in 40 minutes, whatever that video was.
Yeah, so Scoop, this is more for them to hear what you think. They already know what I think on these games, so I'll be brief. I did add a bet, though, right here. So you guys already know that I have Iowa State +3. This graphic says +3. I have +3.5 -118. Looks like we're taking some Iowa State money. Pinnacle just dropped to a 3 shaded towards Iowa State. So I don't know if you could still get this. Looks like you could still get a 3. No, you can. On FanDuel, you could still get a juice 3.5. Looks like some late Iowa State money's coming in. But you guys know how I feel about this one. I just think it should be about a 2.5, maybe a hard 2.5, not 3.5. I think Kansas State is the better team, but I wouldn't put it at 3.5. I'm not going to go through it again. You guys have already heard me go through it several times. So, the bet I added, though, I was already leaning towards the under. We talked about it last night or 2 nights ago. I was already leaning towards the under. The reason I didn't bet it was I talked to some people I really trust that were big on the over. Here's the thing. They were big on the over at 49.5. Kept climbing up, kept climbing up. Pretty clear that sharp bettors like the over in this game. But then it went all the way up to 52.5, and that's where I draw the line. So I actually bet this. I have 2 bets on this game. I bought in on the under at 52.5. I'm not sure if you could still get that. It looks like it touched 52.5 for just a few seconds and then disappeared. So me and Wags got it in the Discord. So if you're in there, you got it. But yeah, so these are my 2 bets on the game. I don't know if I would have been betting this game twice if it wasn't a standalone opener and I just want to gamble and have some fun. But I'm pumped for it. Scoop, they have not heard your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, we are back. College football is back. We are back. We're going to get Doug back. Yeah, I mean, Farmageddon in Ireland. I guess that makes sense since Ireland's mostly farmlands. Yeah, just Iowa 5-0 against the spread the past 5 in this matchup. There goes my dog. Good start. They're going to cover again here, I think. So I'm definitely on Iowa State. Both quarterbacks back from last year. Bronco back, Avery Johnson. I do love Avery Johnson, but I really like Iowa State's offensive line this year. Plus, if you don't remember last year, Iowa State was battling injuries pretty much all year. This is the time to face them when they're actually healthy for once. I mean, I think they were the Big 12 team to beat last year before the injuries, and I think they're even a stronger team this year. And you're giving me a field goal or earlier in the week, more than a field goal in what should be relatively a toss-up game. yeah, I'm definitely on Iowa State. Obviously, I know the losses of Noel and Higgins hurts the team. You don't just lose a pair of 1,000-yard receivers and be all right. But I believe Green and Brown can step up this year. At least one of them are going to replace them. This whole O-line started 6 games last year at least. And you have 10 legitimate offensive linemen there. And with Hanson and Sama back in the backfield, I think Iowa State's actually going to use their run game more this year. Not sure who the number one will be. But they combined for over 1,300 yards last year, 15 touchdowns. So with an established O-line, the run game is going to be solid. Kansas State did just lose DJ Giddens, who was a horse last year. And they lost pieces to this line, too. 3 starting linemen are out. And I think they only kind of bolstered it up with kind of lower-level talent, except maybe J.B. Nelson from Penn State. I'm not saying they don't have the talent, obviously, just maybe a bit to click on the O-line. And I know Iowa State may take a slight step back in the secondary, but they really shut down Avery Johnson last year, held them to 43% passing. Darian Porter is going to be missed, obviously. I still love Jontez Williams back there. They did it last year. They can shut them down again this year, especially with Giddens gone. I don't really think this is going to be a higher scoring game, like you just said. I think both offenses may struggle a little bit in the beginning. But yeah, I mean, look for Iowa State to have more of a ground game this year. But let's be real, a Big 12 is going to be an absolute parity power conference. There's really no clear favorite. 7 teams are under plus 1,000 to win, and the winner, I think Kansas State's at plus 550, which the highest odds in any conference. So the Big 12 is going to be a battle all year. But as long as you're giving me a field goal with 2 competitive games, I'm going to go with the underdog. Plus, don't the Ireland games or anything when they play like Brazil or anything, the field's always an absolute disaster. So there's going to be people slipping. I feel like it's going to be an under kind of game too. I know Mac with his purple shirt, what's up, man, is going to go with Kansas State. So yeah, I like Iowa State. I like the under, kind of same as Kyle. So go Cyclones.
Yeah, the Big 12, and as you guys can see, Mac made it. The Big 12, anyone could win. Well, actually, anyone can win it except West Virginia, I think, is the way to put it. Obviously, that's a dig at Mac. He's a West Virginia guy. So, Mac, any comments on this photo that was posted just a couple hours ago?
Hey, so I actually have been up. My Wi-Fi's not working in my room. You know, Vegas, everything gets a little sideways. But, yes, we did hit it on a little Chinese UFC. I mean, so yeah, got a couple of extra bucks headed into Farmageddon here, kicking off here. But yeah, I feel like I'm in the minority here. I'm on K-State. I do kind of like, because this game is so crazy. Iowa State, Matt Campbell has covered 5 in a row against Chris Klieman here over the last 5 years since taking over the Iowa State gig. But I think Avery Johnson is going to take the next step this year. I like K-State's returning production on the defensive side of the football. I think they're going to load the box and challenge these Iowa State wide receivers. And I think K-State more talented, revenge angle. I don't like playing favorites in Dublin, the Ireland game. It's been a dog game, but I do like K-State today. I think they're the better team, and yes, I do have my K-State purple on. So go Cats.
Yeah, I was pretty clear about it. I grabbed Iowa State because I saw 3.5, and I was like, this is going to be a 3. That 3.5 is not going to be there. So I agree. I think this is pretty much a coin flip at 3. I do think Kansas State's the better team. Kansas State definitely outplayed Iowa State in that loss last year. Remember, they fumbled 2 times. Yeah, outgained. They fumbled on the first play of the game on their own 25, gave them 7 free points, and then they fumbled again on their own 26, like early in the second quarter. So they literally gifted Iowa State 14 points in that game. Iowa State was very lucky to win that game. Kansas State outplayed them. So this is the only game where there's actually some injury news, but it's kind of even on both sides. But I made a quick graphic to pull it up so you guys could see. There are some injuries on both sides. Iowa State is going to be missing their starting guard. He has an illness. That was new. That was just last night. On the Kansas State side, they're missing that tackle, Fitzpatrick, who comes in from Ohio State. He's supposed to be starting. Also, Colby McAllister, the safety, has been ruled out, and their 4th linebacker, Newsome, so he's not one of their main ones. But, yeah, so some injuries on both sides here. All right, let's keep it rolling. And next,
also, you can't pass on the opening game. I mean, you have to bet something.
Yeah.
It's the opening of college football. You got to do something.
Exactly. You feel like you're squeezing in a bet here, but it's just like, hey, oh man, it's a standalone game. Let me get some action in on this. I do like the under too.
Yeah, I was on the under, but I talked to some people. I like the under the whole way, but I talked to some people I trust that were big on the over, and I saw the number go 49, 49 and a half, 50. So I was like, all right, people smarter than me are taking the over. I'm going to chill. Yeah. But then this morning I saw 52 and a half, and I was like, I'm drawing the line. I'm taking this has gone too far. So I did take the under at 52 and a half. All right. So I'm not much of an FCS guy. I had a guest on that talked about this Idaho State team. I'm sure Mac's about to talk about it. Actually, I'm sure both these guys are about to talk about it. From what I understand, not a good FCS team, not a good FCS defense. This number has gone from 26.5. I believe it's now 31.5 I'm seeing. So it looks like they're taking nothing but UNLV money here. And what was shared with me and what makes perfect sense is UNLV, new era here with Mullen there, all new pieces. Now, they brought in a bunch of talent. It's not that they're not talented. It's just a brand new team. So an opener against Idaho State and FCS team, I think the thinking behind this UNLV action coming in is, guys, they need to see what they have. They're not taking their starters out. I think that's what the thinking is. But Mac, Idaho State, for people that don't follow FCS, what can you tell us about them?
So, yeah, Idaho State, defensively, not a lot of returning production. Offensively, they return a lot. 4 out of their top 6 receivers, quarterback continuity with the offensive coordinator. But I don't know how they're going to stop UNLV, but I do think they're going to move the ball on UNLV. You got Dan Mullen on the Vegas side of things coming over. So I think UNLV, it's an interesting spread just because Dan Mullen, new coach. I think people still think Barry Odom's there. I'm actually going to take the points. Because in week 0, week 1, I like to fade these crazy line steam movements just because I think these lines have been out for so long now. And I think Idaho State is going to be able to move the ball on UNLV. I think both teams are going to score at will. So 30.5, I think I'm going to take the points. Let's go.
I mean, I'm seeing a 31.5, and I'm down to gamble with you. I'll take it with you. I don't know anything about Idaho State, but 5 points is crazy, even though it is 26.5 to 31. I might take this with you. Scoop, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so the first thing is UNLV is rolling out 2 quarterbacks today. That's what they say anyway. Orji and Calandria is both going to get snaps. I feel like either one is a step down from Malik Williams and Sluka, in my opinion. I know Kyle thinks they're better throwers, but at least Calandria is. But I don't know.
Calandria definitely is.
I don't really like either quarterback last year. I mean, it was hard to like Orji. And obviously, this is Dan Mullen's return to college football. Hasn't coached 4 years. But good thing is they're playing an FCS school to start with, like you guys said. But it's Idaho. It's not. I mean, it's not Idaho. It's Idaho State. So they actually did a little bit better than expected last year. They were still 5-7. They beat up the lower end of their conference. They played an FBS school last year, opening week, and that was Oregon State, where they lost 38-15. They did cover that game. So, I mean, obviously the UNLV team is definitely an overhaul. Their roster, when Barry Odom left, a lot of their players left, obviously, but their second team, Mountain West running back stage, Jaden Thomas, he's going to get a lot of work this year. So, but I'm on the under, which is the complete opposite of everyone else that I've seen. I mean, this offensive line is completely new. You lost every starter. That's probably going to hurt when Mountain West play starts against Wyoming in 4 weeks, but it'll give them some time to get into it. Idaho State isn't that bad. 4 starters back on this O-line, only allowed 10 sacks last year. They averaged 32 points last year. They can definitely score pretty quickly, and they have improved every single year with over the last 3 years. But they can do that against Cal Poly's Weber State. I don't really know if that's happening here, but I guess it is a gamble of the Idaho State. I would take that too, but I don't see Dan Mullins allowing a lot of points, even with a brand new defense. And their offense, I feel like, is going to struggle a bit, especially in the first half, even though Idaho State's returning 3 starters on the defensive side. Yeah, especially in the first half, I don't see UNLV scoring a lot. So, and then UNLV has like I said, UNLV has a new coach, has been out of the game for a while, new offense, new defense. Idaho State has some offense, but I feel like it'll still struggle a little against UNLV. I just don't see 66 points here with Idaho State trying to score on UNLV and UNLV just having a completely brand new offense. I think they're going to run the ball a lot too. So yeah, I don't see a lot of points here.
Going under. All right, let's move on to Fresno State, Kansas. I do have a bet on this game. Mac, what are your thoughts on E.J. Warner? I think it's a perfect spot to bounce back. I'm sorry. I can't remember what you said about Entz. You were big on Entz, I think. Or was it Colby that was big on Entz? I listened to you guys talk about this. I can't remember what you said.
So I like Entz, but I will say everybody has won at North Dakota State. You go down the list, Craig Bowl, Kleiman, and then when Entz left, they did win the national championship the very next year last year. So he was at USC last year as an offensive consultant. So I like Entz. They're shifting from kind of airing it out more to they want to pound the rock now in Fresno. So identity shift here out in Fresno. Then you got Jalen Daniels, and it feels like Jalen Daniels has been in college football for about 75 years now. So. But Koltanicki went to Penn State. Grimes was not a good fit there. I thought Daniel struggled. He was coming off the back injury. I like Kansas, actually. I'm going to lay the points here with the big favorite. I think Kansas, opening up their new stadium, by the way. I think it's going to be a raucous environment there in Lawrence today. I just think the offensive production coming back, and then They are replacing a lot on the defensive side of the football. They had some guys drafted, but I do like Kansas because of Jalen Daniels, the continuity on the offensive side of the football. And then I just don't know how long it's going to take Fresno to be able to shift from airing it out more versus into a running first style. So, yeah, give me Kansas. I'll lay the 13.5.
I'm on the other side of this one. I took Fresno, but granted, I don't know a ton about Entz, but based on what I'm hearing people say and from what I'm reading, we should expect almost a polar opposite offense from Fresno State. Like you said, a lot of running the football, slow-paced, control the clock, play the field position game, which obviously you love to be catching a big number in a game like that, right? With a team that's going to be possibly getting the ball in bad field position, with a team that's going to be their offense kept on the sideline for chunks at a time. So I like that. I really don't like Kansas early in the season. This is their third OC in 3 years, like you said, and it seems like just when they were figuring it out, like the last couple of years, I'm not going to say Kansas was playing good defense, but it looked like finally there was some semblance of defense. Like they were not the worst defense in the country the last couple of years. Borland retires. Now they got a new DC. Last year, you mentioned it, Grimes, that offense really struggled. Then towards the end of the year, it was like, okay, here comes some offense. Here comes Jalen Daniels. Maybe there is life with this offense post-Koltanicki. Now Grimes is gone. Third OC in 3 years. So you got two new coordinators here. Obviously, Jalen Daniels was going to be the most talented player on the field by far. Not a ton of returning talent around him, even though, yeah, they're going to be significantly more talented than Fresno State. But Fresno State, the front seven is a question mark. They've got probably the best defensive back in the Mountain West there. Hamilton, he's probably an NFL player at corner. This is a really good pass defense. Daniels might not be able to throw on Fresno. I'm sure they're going to be able to run the ball, but they might not be able to throw on Fresno. They might be running the football, and if we're talking about one team controlling the clock, the other team running the football, 14's a lot to be laying in a game like that. And also, E.J. Warner, I feel like Rice put him in a really bad spot last season, and kind of just a buy low on E.J. Warner as a whole. I mean, back in Temple, he was like very promising young talent. He goes to Rice, and he was just kind of thrown to the wolves there at Rice. Now he comes into Fresno, where he's going to be more of a game manager. I think he can have a little bit of a resurgence. I took the plus 14. Scoop?
Yeah, I'm going Fresno State also. Kansas lost their top 9 receivers, and their 10th was Hishaw, who was their backup running back last year. Little concern, like Max said, going back to their Holden Stadium finally. And you saw they got a $300 million donation, which is the highest in college football history, which is wild. It goes to Kansas out of everyone. I can't believe I'm going to pick Fresno because I don't think he's a great quarterback. I'm going to go with E.J. Warner here. Senior quarterback, not good. but has a lot of experience. Maybe Matt Entz takes his North Dakota pedigree here and wins for Fresno State. Obviously, he has 2 championships, 60-11 record, but like Max said, everyone wins at North Dakota State. So I think Josh Davis, their new OC, will have the team running the ball, running it well. They have 3 solid running backs in Donaldson, Gilliam, and now they have Luke from Arizona, who's really quick and is going to be there for passing downs for Warner. O-line's going to be better this year now that a running game is going to actually come into play. I really do love Claypool and Owusu coming in on this defensive line. They still have really solid corners, like Kyle said, in Hamilton and Embry. And their coach has looked awesome defensively for North Dakota State. I know it's NDSU, but you have to see what he's doing at that level, and hopefully it translates here in the Mountain West. I'm not sure about Jalen Daniels. I mean, he hasn't obviously been the Jalen Daniels from 2022 yet. He had a really awful year. And not only does he lose his receivers, he loses Devin Neal, who's in the NFL now too, the running back. And you have 4 starting linemen last year who are gone, who this line only gave up 10 sacks last year. So it's a completely new line. And the incoming transfers and backups, they don't have a ton of experience. So the one thing Kansas does have is a solid front 7, but their secondary is completely depleted. I know I talk smack about EJ Warner, but he can make some throws, and if they develop a run game early, they could definitely take advantage of some holes in that secondary. So overall, I think this game does go under as well. I don't think Kansas is going to move the ball well, and I see Fresno just eating up, clock on the offense. So, and I know Daniels played well down the stretch last year, but you're just going with a whole new offense except him pretty much. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Fresno. I'm going to go with the under. I actually just put the under bet in. So, yeah, I think this one's going to be a good game, actually. This should be fun.
I would lean under as well with both teams running the ball. All right, let's move on.
I agree.
Sam Houston State, Western Kentucky. What the hell are we supposed to expect from Sam Houston State on the defensive side of the ball? I mean, they lost the whole defense, and that's not an exaggeration. The entire defense. They're bringing back one linebacker who was injured. He played in 4 games or something last year. The whole defense is gone for Sam Houston State. And you're bringing in a coach in Phil Longo who doesn't always put his defense in the best positions, I guess is the best way to phrase it. So you're opening up your season on the road against an offensive powerhouse like Western Kentucky. Maybe calling them a powerhouse is a little crazy, but, I mean, Tyson Helton gives us one of the best, a top 2 offense in CUSA every single year. Brings in an OC that seems to be the perfect marriage there. They bring in Bowie from Abilene Christian, who brings his quarterback with them. I think they hit the ground running. I didn't bet this game. In my opinion, everything about this game points to Western Kentucky naming their number and scoring as many as they want. I've talked to some people that really like the over, that think Phil Longo is going to draw some tricky shit up here to get over 60.5. That being said, I mean, this number has been at 10 for weeks. I'm now seeing a 9.5. So somewhere out there are people that are believing that Phil Longo is going to come out and surprise some people. I am all ears on this one. Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the Bearcats here. And Kyle, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a shootout. Both teams not only want to really push the ball downfield, I think they both want to play extremely fast. So Longo runs the Dairy Raid. I know he didn't have that much success at Wisconsin running that, but at the same time, Wisconsin's not really a Dairy Raid, air raid team. So I never understood the fit when he went out there. He was great at Carolina, Ole Miss. Now he comes over to Sam Houston, where he started with Casey Keeler in his career, who just took the Temple job. And I think the Western Kentucky, like I love the Western Kentucky program, but they have like 3 returning starters or 4 returning starters now. So they're returning a lot. Maverick MacGyver is the quarterback. Yes, that's a real name for Western Kentucky. And I mean, he was great at Abilene Christian with his offensive coordinator. I think they're going to be able to move the ball. But I think both teams are going to be able to score at will here. But I think Sam Houston, although not returning a lot on defense, it really is going to be able to move the ball in Western Kentucky's new defense here. So I will take Sam Houston in the points in a high variance game. That's really what this is. I honestly could see Sam Houston winning the game outright. I think that this is a crazy game where both teams are brand new, trying to find their identity. So I'll take the dog, and I'll honestly, I'm going to sprinkle on their money line a little bit.
Wow. And clearly there are some influential people taking Sam Houston, because someone said in the comments, I haven't seen one person on Sam Houston. And that's true. I feel like everyone's talking Western Kentucky. Well, this number is at 10, and now I'm seeing 9.5s pop up. So somewhere out there are some sharp people taking the Bearcats in this one. I'm just going to put over up for myself. I'm probably not going to bet this game. I shouldn't say probably. I might bet this game. Wow. By the way, more Iowa State money coming in. There's now a 2.5 open on FanDuel for those of you that are trying to get in late on a Kansas State bet before that game kicks off in 35 minutes. Scoop, what do you think?
Yeah, this is an over spot for me, for sure. First of all, Sam Houston's obviously not the same Sam Houston as last year. Casey Keeler went to Temple, be their head coach. So Sam Houston lost a ton of talent. The only thing they didn't lose really is Hunter Watson, and I love Hunter Watson. I thought he played really well last year, had over 2,100 yards passing, rushing. So he's going to have to do a lot. Jay Ducker followed his coach at Temple as the running back, but I think they have great running backs in. It's actually a deeper running back room than last year with Elijah Green from Indiana, McCaskill from Arizona State, Parker from Southern Illinois. You also got Shane Porter from North Texas. So I'm not sure if Phil Longo is going to run that type of air raid system like he did at Wisconsin. I mean, I guess he would. But the wideouts didn't really do much last year. But if they do, I feel like they have the receivers. I think it's fine for it. The Sam Houston offense, I really don't have a problem with. I think they could definitely move the ball. I like their O-line too. And with Western Kentucky's run defense, their defensive line had 22 transfers, 11 in and 11 out. So, and their D-line has 0 FBS starts. So I feel like Longo should definitely use his running backs here. Just let them do work. Watson can obviously run the ball well too. And on the other side, Sam Houston defense should actually be atrocious this year. Seriously, whatever Sam Houston's defense was last year, throw it out. Their whole D-line's gone, their linebacks are gone, and their secondary is loaded up with FCS talent because they're mostly gone too, except I think you said Iman Allen missed 7 games. And Western Kentucky has that kid from Abilene Christian, like Max said, followed his OC here, airs it out, almost 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns last year. And their wide receivers are actually stacked with experience. They have a ton of experience on the outside. 8 of these guys have playing time last year, mostly from different schools. I just think both sides should take advantage of a weaker defense and go with their strengths. So, and let's be real. I mean, Phil Longo, even when he doesn't have a good defense, he runs an up-tempo offense. So Western Kentucky will have plenty of time to get down the field. I think this is going to be a shootout, like Max said. I think this is just going to go back and forth and go over.
All right. Let's move on to the last game, and a fun one. Another game where it feels like everyone's kind of on the same side. And
Yeah.
Mac's about to take Stanford on here. I know he is. He's about to take Stanford on the show. So you guys have heard me say this twice already, but real quick, this is the bet I actually have. I'm not sure if you could still get this same number, but I'm pretty sure you could still get it close to this. Hawaii Moneyline minus 126. Want to be clear, I bet this when I thought Elijah Brown was starting at quarterback for Stanford. It's going to be Gulbranson, and not that Gulbranson is anything that like scares me. It's just I was playing the angle of a redshirt freshman starting in the Islands against a Hawaii defense that's not only improved, but brings back a ton of its playmakers on that side of the ball. So it was a redshirt freshman starting in the Islands against an experienced defense that's bringing back its linebackers, its safeties, like the playmakers. So I was like, turnovers. Now that it's Gulbranson, I don't know if I necessarily feel the same way. I do think Hawaii wins. I don't necessarily hate the bet. I just don't know if I would have placed it had I known Gulbranson was starting. Mac, what do you think here?
So I think I want to take Stanford just because it crossed over 0, but I can't get there. And I like Gulbranson. He started some big games at Oregon State. This is a guy that has played in big games. He's beaten Oregon as his starting quarterback. So now he's taken over a new program. But Stanford just is replacing so much on the offensive and defensive side of the football. I'm going to take Hawaii. I agree with you, Kyle. I'm going to take it on the money line just to be safe because I could see them backdooring this. So give me the Rainbow Warriors. I like what they've been able to do on the defensive side. I thought they took a step last year. Year 4, Timmy Chang, and I really like. I feel like everybody likes him. Is Alejado? What he was able to do?
I'm not big on him.
I know he's wrong. I mean, he's definitely going to be amazing.
He's so. I'm worried that he's going to be the Avery Johnson of last year, where he came on the scene for 1 or 2 starts and everybody falls in love with him. But I mean, when he started last year, he was electric in that game against New Mexico. So this is more of a bank on Timmy Chang, his culture. Year 4, they've taken a step every single year. I'm getting deja vu, I'm not going to lie, because 2 years ago, Stanford and Hawaii opened up the season, and the line went down from like 10-3, and then Stanford just boat raced them. But I like the revenge angle here. Give me Hawaii. Let's go, Rainbow Warriors.
So obviously we're on the same pick here, but I will push back the Alejado. I think people need to pump the brakes on that. Yeah, he had a great start against New Mexico. Who the hell didn't? That was like the worst defense in the country. Who didn't light that defense up?
I just like that he passed the eye test. Like some of the throws he was making, I was like, okay, this kid has it.
Watch me line up under center against that New Mexico defense. I'll send you the tape. You might be gassing me up at quarterback. The defense was terrible. And the other time he came into the game was against Utah State, another terrible defense. They were down 50 points when he came in the game. I'm not sold on Alejado. I actually think they're going to run the football, which is why I also put an under ticket up here. All right, Scoop, I get it. You're on the Micah Alejado fan club. You're leading the Facebook page. Got it. Noted.
Yeah, my favorite bet of the day is Hawaii -2.5. I really like this Hawaii team. It's Timmy Chang's best team in his last 4 years. I know Kyle is just trashing Alejado for no reason, but he's going to shred this Stanford defense. He looked great in that Utah State game too. Looked great in that New Mexico game. I know both are bad defenses, but guess what Stanford is? A bad defense. I get Stanford. I get Stanford's best unit is their secondary, and I get Hawaii doesn't run the ball. All they do is pass. They actually had the most. They had the least rushing attempts in the league last year. So, but Stanford has such a bad front seven that Alejado is going to have time to throw the ball. The defensive line isn't impressive. The returning starters didn't generate any pressure last year, and their linebackers are awful, except maybe Tafiti. I do like him, but the offensive line of Hawaii returns 3 starters. They have solid backups who are massive. Manuma looks great, and even though they have no running game pretty much at all, but they do return their 2 starters from last year, and their wideouts are extremely strong, which is good because Hawaii is going to throw the ball 400 times again this year. So, Wilberson, like you just said, Stanford's quarterback. He started 12 games at Oregon State the last 3 years. He's all right. He's nothing special. I think Frank Reich is definitely going to try the ground game a lot more this year anyway, because last year they really had nothing. So, and I do like Stanford's O-line. They should be pretty solid. But there's all new wideouts for Stanford too. No one returning. We had a catch last year. So, but if Stanford wants to establish a run, Hawaii has an awesome front seven, a ton of good transfers, solid returning talent, and this should be a top 6 Mountain West secondary when the season ends. I love Hawaii's defensive backs. I love their safeties. So yeah, I think Hawaii is going to shock a lot of people this year. And just a trend, if you want, Hawaii is 11-3-1 against the spread their last 15 opening games. And Stanford going to Hawaii, yeah, I think Hawaii wins by like 10 this game.
Because you were being such a dick, I hope they win by 2. And me and Matt Cash.
No.
2019.
It's 3.
All right. So obviously next week we'll be going through a shitload of games, and it'll be a little faster pace where we were kind of taking our time because there's only 5. So next week will be more of like rapid fire. We're just going to rip through the games. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows who Moneyline Mac is, but Mac, for people who don't, where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, at Moneyline_Mac. And if you're in Vegas right now, I'll see you at Circa in about 5 minutes. Yeah, down there watching the Farmageddon. So, hey, next week I promise I will not have the Vegas voice, and I will not be betting on Chinese UFC fighting until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning out here. So yeah, it's good. I can't wait, man. This is fun, and it's gonna be a hell of a year, guys.
Yeah. The comments for like the big Saturday slates, they get pretty like you can't even keep up with them. They're coming in so fast. So should be a lot of fun next week for week 1. Matt,
I've never gotten in any Twitter or comment dust ups. That's not what I do.
Oh my God. Dude, what's that one fan base that like literally hates you?
Providence is
Providence, yeah. Providence, the entire state hates Mac. But all right, Mac, go enjoy Vegas, go enjoy Circa. Scoop, talk to you later today, man.